As part of the EarthDance Florida interview series, EarthDance Florida TV presents the DigitalDanimal.com production, an interview with visionary artist Chris Dyer. All right, today we're interviewing world-renowned visionary artist Chris Dyer. But first, let me get a shameless plug out of the way. Talk a little bit more of EarthDance Florida, and then we'll hop right into the interview with Chris. Well, I'm your host today, Dan Hoffman, also known as Digital Danimal. I have the honor of being the marketing guru this year for the EarthDance Festival. I am the CEO and founder of DigitalDanimal.com. And if you are someone hosting your own event, or have a startup company, or even if you're a small or medium-sized business owner wanting to be successful in the digital age, we're here to help you. You can visit me at www.digitaldanimal.com. Now, about EarthDance Florida, that's why we're here, and we're here to talk to Chris. We have on video call via Skype Chris Dyer, Montreal-based artist whose art is exploding worldwide right now, receiving insane amounts of critical recognition. His unique works vary in medium and range from visionary art to street art, including skateboard art, and he is one of the few artists passionately and successfully bridging and uniting these different styles. He has worked with, exhibited with, or collaborated with other world-renowned artists including Alex Gray, Shepard Fairey, Robert Venosa, H.R. Giger, and Romeo Shrestha, as well as skateboard art legends like Jim Phillips, Wes Humpston, and Andy Howe. Chris's work is now exhibited around the world. Chris, welcome. Thank you for taking the time out of your hectic schedule for the interview. How are you?
Pretty good, Dan. Thanks for having me over to your show.
Awesome, man. We're really glad to have you. Now, Chris, EarthDance Florida is certainly grateful to have an artist of your caliber on board for this September's festival. Can you tell us, what has your experience been with music and transformational festivals in the past, both personally and professionally, and maybe what has you most excited about EarthDance Florida this year?
Okay, well, I only really started going to these transformational festivals once my art started reaching out to the people. I didn't really go to them on my own accord when I was younger. When I was younger, I would just go to punk festivals or, whatever is happening in my city, more like urban festivals. And but once my art started getting out there, I would get invitations to a few of these. And, at the beginning, it was, not really my thing, to be honest, because the music wasn't really my style. And it was like, I was getting hippie, but it was like sort of like hippie times 1,000, and I was trying to like get into it, and there's a lot of things that didn't really maybe go with who I am. But as the years go by and I keep on going to them, I keep on finding more of the positive aspects about them too. Like the intention of it in general is always like a spiritual, it's got a spiritual tone and intention. And for me, it's a lot about the people who go there more than anything, because you might be into the music or the art or not, but if you want to be surrounded by spiritual, well-intended people, those are the kinds of places that you can find that and actually open up to some degree of transformation or have a good time. It's whatever your own intention is too. So I've really been enjoying them more and more, and I'm stoked about EarthDance. I've never been to an EarthDance yet. I know it's a worldwide thing, and it's an old school thing too. It probably preceded a lot of the more hypey kind of festivals of today, but this is like the roots. And usually those kinds of festivals are the ones that I like the most because it actually practices what it preaches, and, when I was telling before how I was not really getting into the vibe, it's not that I wasn't a spiritual person, is that a lot of these transformational festivals put out the whole superficial thing about like, oh, it's so spiritual, but then I didn't find a lot of spirituality. I saw like, the flower of life on the t-shirt, but then people are just like, super raging, and so there's some festivals that I haven't really enjoyed so much. But I think EarthDance is the kind of festival where prayers do mean something, and intentions do end up in something deep.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that was a great testimony, and I really do feel that, EarthDance intentions, are, about just uniting that global community and coming together, for that purpose of peace. And, we're real excited about it. This is our seventh or eighth year with EarthDance Florida, and the owner, Belinda Patino, is just amazing, and she is just a dedicated and caring and loving person, as well as everyone on the team and all of the volunteers. So, again, we're just real happy and excited to have you on board and be able to see your art and watch what you do, in person.
How does EarthDance, the world, as a world festival? Because it's been more than 8 years worldwide, right?
Yeah, I believe we're approaching 15 years, but don't quote me on that. But we're definitely one of the first real festivals that were out there, and we continue to this day just to grow the movement. So it's really exciting to be, from my perspective, to be part of that right now. And as a co-creator last year, it was just amazing for me. So yeah, it's just a good time all around. So, Chris, I understand you're not unfamiliar to the transformational process. You yourself went from a skateboarding and surfing kid to later becoming a fan-based gangbanger, soccer hooligan, and then now to a world-renowned artist. Tell us how those experiences helped shape you as an artist and maybe more importantly as a person.
Well, I think the human experience, a lifetime gives you the opportunities to try many things, to, see what it is to be a good person, see what it is to do evil, to hurt, to love. And my short lifetime, I'm only 37. I turned last week.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. I've had a chance, like by living in Peru, it was more, not that I was like, oh, I want to do bad things. It's more that you're in an environment where like, things are aggressive. So you try to, like, I was always like a sensitive artist inside. But if I was that way in a place where people are like aggressive, I'd be too vulnerable. So I had to put on a bunch of, armors to defend this. And so I was in a street gang, and I did maybe violent things. I fed that fiery side of myself. And when I moved to Canada, it was a totally different environment. People were like, "What's up with this crazy dude?" Like, no one wanted to hang out with me because I was just punching people in the face for small offenses. And that's what I would do in Peru to like prove my macho-ness. But in Canada, that's not the vibe. So people were like not liking me, so I had to like calm down and like chill out and try new things. But there's been a bunch of life experiences in my life that sort of like cleansed out my armors. I'd say like tree planting was a big one, because finally I got out of the cities at age 22 or something, and I was like, oh, this is what planet Earth is, I didn't know. I was stuck in all these, concrete jungle with a bunch of cultural, influences that shaped who I was too. So yeah, definitely it was tree planting that helped me like cleanse out a lot of my negativity. And through that, I started my path towards a more positive being. It didn't happen in a day or a year, but I've been working at it ever since. I still am. And all of those things reflect onto my art. And, I guess part of the allure that my art has is that it's like just honest and real, and then people vibe it and they can relate to what I'm trying to tell them. And I think that's the best kind of art, when people can really feel like, whoa, I feel that way too. I'm going to embrace what this guy is saying because it helps me communicate my feelings. That's a great service I can do for people. And so yeah, so I'm happy about my present role.
That's beautiful, man. It's a great way to look at art, and just looking through your art, I can tell, I can totally relate to and see in it, the transformation and that search for, that righteousness almost. It's really cool, powerful.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. In your hit documentary, which is available on your YouTube channel, you describe your art as having a message of spiritual evolution. I guess that goes into kind of what you just mentioned. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more?
Well, you know, like, yeah, I'm a painter, but I like expressing myself in every single way possible. And video has been a medium that's always been around, you know, in my life since I filmed when I was a kid. Like, something about me is that I always try to capture reality. You know, if something's like stokes me, I'm just like, oh, I gotta bottle it because it's gonna leave at one point, and I want to hold on to it. I'm like super nostalgic, and I just want to hold on to the things that I love. And so I was filming all my life, and then I was filming when I got to Canada, and then eventually I wanted to tell more of my story, and I made that documentary that went into, you know, my life in Peru, my experiences with street gangs, me getting into skateboard and surf communities, moving to Canada, starting from new, and then like going tree planting, the things I discussed in your last question. And then I think like a big thing about my documentary was I was trying to explore not only those subcultures that I interacted with at these different points in my life, but also the question of, does art and artistic creative expressions help make the world a better place? You know, that's always a question I put out there. You know, are these creative things that we do actually a form of activism? Do we really have to go out there and get all political, or can we just live our lives according to who we are inside?
Right on.
And that's our activism. By acting from our soul self, are we making a world a better place? I like to believe yes, and a lot of people I know also believe in that stuff. So that's more or less, you know, what I went into my documentary, and I asked a lot of my friends to see what their opinions were all about. And I'm happy that it's gotten so many views and so much great feedback out on YouTube world. So it's awesome.
It's definitely an amazing video and documentary, and I recommend any of our listeners to check it out on Chris Dyer's YouTube channel. Now, Chris, in regard to your career, you went quickly from local exhibitions in Montreal to doing solo exhibitions around the world and having your art exhibited in galleries in places like Peru, Mexico, Paris, Berlin, Tokyo, New York, Denver, Los Angeles. How do you credit this rise in popularity?
I guess I'm just like a really hard worker, and I'm also like, uh, you know, I'm on the internet a lot, so that's how you really get to the world. Like once you're on the internet and social media, I'm so lucky. One, that when I finished college in 90, well, I didn't finish college. I started college in around like 97, 98, and that's when the internet started happening. So all of a sudden you got email, which was awesome. As a somebody who had just left Peru and all his friends and family behind, I could write emails all of a sudden and stay in touch with them. But then as I'm finishing school, the social media thing started happening, and that was like amazing. It was like a platform where like thousands of people could see my art all of a sudden, and it started catching like a lot, like especially on MySpace at the time when that was the thing, and that opened up a lot of invitations to be in all these shows. And you know, I'm not the kind of person who's just sort of like, okay, I'll send you your painting. Many times I'd be like, you know, I'm gonna go and, you know, check you out in Belgium or whatnot, and let's see what happens. And some things would happen, other things wouldn't, but at least I get myself out there in the world and throw my dice, and many things did happen. And, you know, one synchronicity takes you to the next, and you start making your, I guess, success happen.
That's
So.
awesome. I mean, I'm your age too. I'll be 37 in April. And, I too have, taken advantage of the evolution of the internet, and it's just amazing. And what's amazing about it is that, artists and performers like you can really reach out to a larger audience and share, your vision of reality basically with the world and people who can relate to it. So, it's really exciting just to meet someone who's been able to do that and has the foresight and vision to do that. So, good job.
Thanks, Danimal. Yeah, it's such a blessing that, you know, I got an audience because I just stay home a lot, you know, like I stay home and I paint too, and I'm like really, I might not talk to anyone in days, just me and my cat. And then, but at the same time, I can put a picture and it hits hundreds of thousands of people and it communicates daily. It's like it's a real big exchange of energy happening on a daily base, even if I decide to stay in bed in my pajamas. So that power is fantastic. And
It's awesome.
Really, I think it's a change in the game for a lot of artists for the better. It's so great. It's a big blessing for us.
Right on. Well, Chris, you seem to have been traveling a lot most of your life. Tell us a little bit about how we can best connect to your adventures.
Well, I didn't travel all of my life, even though I did, move from Peru to Canada at age 17. I only really started traveling around 21, and once again, that came through tree planting. Because before tree planting, I didn't know any hippies. But in tree planting, it was like all hippies. So, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, let's go hitchhiking," and all these things. And I'm like, "Oh wow, yeah, I guess that's a possibility." And so then I started hitchhiking, and then the bug got me, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta travel all the time." So I would spend all my student loans on getting to the next place and hitchhiking around, and just exploring the world. I was so excited. Once I got out of my initial armors and shell, I was like, wow, there's so much to learn about myself and about the world. Let's
Right
go
on.
out, see as much as I can afford for now, because I didn't have like a ton of money, but enough to go to a place. Like when I went to Hawaii, I only had $50. I spent $900 to get to Hawaii, and then I had $50 for 5 weeks. But I was like, I can survive, took my tent, slept on the beach, ate avocados from trees and hitchhiked and got little random jobs, ate crackers. But still, I would go and check out a volcano or surf a beautiful beach. So, where there's a will, there's a way. But anyways,
Yeah.
as to your question and to a nice plug for myself, I've been recording my latest art ventures as a video series by that name. I'm at episode number 12 by now. I'm about to do the Florida episode. It's in the works right now, but I'm waiting for some footage from a friend. But it should be out in the next month. Recording a little tour I did last year. And yeah, so it's up on Vimeo and YouTube, on the Chris Dyer Positive Creations side. And, there's a bunch of locations where I have 5 to 10 minute episodes of different places I go to, the art, the culture. I love doing those things, and just like film it with my little pocket camera and give it to my editor. And, it's not about making money, it's just about, I don't know, capturing the moment and sharing it with others and spreading the good vibes.
Yeah, no, I've seen them, and you're. I think you're being too humble because they're great. They're just an awesome way for if you're someone who maybe is a little nervous about traveling, or are afraid you don't have the budget to travel. Watching your travels is really inspirational and fun. So I definitely recommend also to anyone watching this that they check that out.
Thanks, man.
For sure. Now, since street art is one of your main mediums, can you tell us exactly, what that is and what attracts you to that form?
Well, I'm a city person. Lima is a 8 to 10 million person city, and then when I moved to Canada, I was in Ottawa, which is smaller, and then Montreal is like a 2 million person city. So I've always been like an urban kind of creature. And I always did skateboard art, which I always consider to be street art because it's an art of the streets. Um, and I actually stayed away from graffiti because my brother did graffiti, and I didn't want us to get all competitive. But eventually, I had so many friends who were using the medium of spray paint that I had to give it a go, and then it got me. I got addicted to that medium too. I try to shy away from the term of street art because street art has this whole brand new thing that comes, that became a big thing after Banksy's movies, except for the gift shop. But I like to use the medium of spray paint in the street, so I guess it is street art. If and I like more. But what I like about it is one that I'm out in the streets. I'm in the outdoors. When living in Canada, you're indoors a lot in the winter. This winter's lasts like 6 months, so you're indoors, which is good too because I get to do my paintings. It less distractions. It's cozy. It's introspective. It's quiet. But when the sun comes out, I want to stay indoors. It's almost like a torture to
Right.
stay indoors once the weather's nice. So you go out there and you jam with your friends. You throw down the wall. The second thing I like about it, it's quick. I can do a nice big giant thing in a day if I want to. Or, if I want to go really ambitious, it'll take me 5 days. But like for me to do a canvas painting in 5 days would be impossible. It takes me weeks to months sometimes. And it's like a little thing. So I really love the medium. It's like having magic powers. Things I don't like about it is its toxicity. And I'm very aware that it's not good for my health. I try to use masks, gloves, goggles. I don't want to, like, toxify my liver too much or myself or the world. So it's something I'm only going to do for a limited period of time. I can see it's something that can make a lot of people happy real quick because I can go there, blast it on a wall, leave and leave it for them. It's part of their community and they can make them happy for years to come if nobody ruins it. So there's a lot of potential for good to come from it. So putting it on the scale, it is worth for me doing right now, but it's not something I'm gonna do forever. There's
Right.
there'll be a time where I'm like, okay, I'm tired of this medium and moving on to something else.
Well, I mean, all the mediums you use are just simply amazing for sure. So we know we have a lot more to look forward to from you. Now that we're all really excited to have your talent at EarthDance, tell us what we can expect to witness directly from you and your art at the festival.
At EarthDance itself, well, I don't know because that's like all the way in like September, right?
Yes.
Uh, I will wait till Belinda Plantino, I love her name, uh, tells me what she wants me to do. I offer different services. I think she wants me to do a little speech or like workshop, so I'll be happy to do that. And they'll probably build me a wall and I'll spray paint like a big thing that they can keep and stuff. So, but I don't know what I'm doing yet. Many times I just wait till I'm there and I feel it out and be like, oh, this is what I gotta do. Sometimes when you plan too much and then you get there and it's not what you expected and then you planned for nothing because it's not the vibes. So you gotta switch it up. So I'd rather just go there and be open and feel it out and go. But
Good
I'll make
philosophy.
something pretty for the people. I know that much.
Good philosophy. I think you're going to be really impressed with the vibe for sure. It's just an amazing place and a great time. Like you said, Earth Dance is not happening until September. So, do you want to tell us about some of the projects and exhibitions you'll be working on in the meantime?
Yeah, totally. Well, April's coming up, and that's gonna be a busy month for me. I'm gonna be going to Mexico for Ometeotl Festival. I can never say the name of that festival. It's in south of Mexico City. Then I'm going to Philadelphia to paint at a party. Then I'm going to Portland to paint at a party. While I'm there, I just got invited by the Merry Pranksters crew to paint their bus in Eureka, so
Oh,
that'll
that's
be
cool.
fun. Then in May, I'm doing a workshop at Alex Gray's Chapel of Sacred Mirrors.
Oh, amazing.
And that same month, my coloring book's coming out, so I'll have a launch in Montreal and maybe other places. June, I'm going to Norway for this festival called the Midnight Sun Festival. So as you can imagine, the sun will never go down.
Right?
It's very high up. Then I'm going to Russia and doing a couple things in Moscow and St. Petersburg. And after that, I'm going to Portugal to Boom Festival. And then I'm going to Florida.
Awesome. Can we expect you to chronicle these adventures on your YouTube?
Yeah, totally. I'll be filming them. It'll probably take me many months. Like many times I film them and they sit there till I have the time to work on with my editor.
Right?
And since these are a lot of back-to-back trips, I'm probably just gonna like collect them, stash them, and wait till I have the time to do them. But yeah, eventually there will be in my chronicles and in my adventures videos.
Right on. Well, I know I'm going to be looking forward to that. Uh,
Thanks.
well, Chris, I know you're a busy guy, and you probably have places to go. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about yourself, or your art, or anything upcoming, or just get a plug out there? Anything you want before we close up?
No, that's cool. Check out my art, I guess, and buy my products.
Hey, well,
uh,
well, we definitely encourage everyone in our Earth Dance family and all our co-creators to get connected with Chris. You can reach him at positivecreations.ca or Chris Dyer's Positive Creations Facebook page. For more information on Earth Dance Florida, or of course to get your tickets before they're sold out, please visit earthdanceflorida.org. That's ORG. For information on Digital Danimal and all of the services I can provide, reach out to digitaldanimal.com. And Chris, I just want to thank you again. It was a pleasure meeting you, talking to you, getting to know your art, and I'm excited just to see what happens at EarthDance Florida with you this year.
Thanks, Danimal.
All right, buddy. All right, well, you take care, man. Much blessings to you.
Yeah, peace.
All right.